Hello, candidates, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Michaela. I am the content creator here at CandiKayla.com. Here on this platform, we are all about growing ourselves, in ourselves, and for ourselves through the 8 dimensions of wellness. If you all have not seen our video from April 1st, then you will not quite understand what's going on here. We are in a very different setting, and you can go watch that video to understand why. So today, you guys are going to learn all about me. I figured that it would be great to start off the month by just doing a quick about me that you guys can get to know who I am and why I'm so passionate about wellness and how that all integrates and really get a taste into my story, because I think that as we move forward and we're talking about how to efficiently work your wellness and put different contingencies in plan that allows you to actually maximize the efficiency of your wellness and your wellness plan. I'm going to be coming from a very personal perspective, so it's important that you know a little about my story so that you can further understand that. So, I am Michaela. As I said before, I am the content creator here at CandidKayla.com. A bit about my childhood and what actually led me to start CandidKayla.com is I grew up a military brat, and I grew up in a Christian household. I was the oldest of 5 kids, and in the ways that I grew up, there was a lot that I couldn't be a part of. To a certain extent, I always felt like a bit of an outsider until YouTube came. So I was a YouTube head from the beginning. In like 2007, I was sold. By 2009, and there's like people actually uploading, I just gained this deep level of curiosity and love for YouTube and visual content. I loved the way that people were able to document their journeys, and you could see the same content over and over again. So if there was something that of value that you wanted, you could come back to that. So from that, I just grew my love for it. I really wanted to start putting out content about then. I was about 13, 14 at that time. And my mom was not feeling that. She was very adamant. I had no online presence whatsoever, not even Facebook, until I was 16 years old. So as a result, I just started making my own videos for me in my house, and they were, super dorky, weird videos that will never see the light of day now. But back then, it was like something I knew I was passionate about. Fast forward to 2016, I started CandidKayla.com from that passion and from that love, and it had a very different purpose than it does now. Back then, I was very much so into the beauty space and makeup and hair and nails and all of this vanity, and I knew that I was interested in that, but I knew that there was an underlying purpose. There was something inside of me I wanted to get out, but I just couldn't figure out what it was because I was still trying to figure out who I was. At that point in time, I think I was like 20, and I had no idea about who I was as a human being, let alone as somebody who's producing content or creating content. Like, it's hard to create content about yourself when you're trying to figure out who you are. And while I definitely wanted to document like this coming of age about myself, that was the original purpose of this platform. It took a shift because in 2016 I made a video called like how to be content while you're single or something like that, or I can't remember the name of the video, but when I made the video in response to the overwhelming amounts of stupidity that I just felt I was dealing with in my friendships. All my girlfriends were like, I'm single and I don't want to be single, and dudes aren't this and dudes aren't that. And then I had my church girlfriends who were like, marriage all day, blah, blah, blah. We all want to get married. And then I have my not saved girlfriends, and it's like, nah, like the more people that you sleep with, the better, and like you look more desirable or you're undesirable somehow if you don't have people that you're sleeping with, and like all of these convoluted understandings of self-worth. And from that, I made this video, and it has pretty decent traction these days, but in like traction in the sense of like anybody who's seen it has had positive reviews about it, but I made that video from a place of anger, and I knew that I wanted to take a step back from CandidKayla.com as a result, because I knew that God would never grow something that he couldn't trust me with. And because I made that video out of a place of anger, I was in the wrong, and I don't believe that God wanted me to make that video in the way that he did, in the way that I did. As a result, I took a step back. Anyway, fast forward, I started graduate school in 2017. For those who are not aware, I went to undergrad and got 2 bachelor's degrees in computational and applied mathematics as well as chemistry. So when I went to graduate school, I am now pursuing my PhD in chemistry, and I'm in my last year now. Back in 2019, I was stressed and overworked. I had published 2 papers in the matter of like 6 weeks, and was really pushing my limits as a human being. I was trying to be all the things to everyone and nothing to myself, all at the same time, and it was just this very stressful and unhealthy environment. So much so that in March of 2019, my body shut down. I lost control of my limbs in the sense that I was in such chronic pain that I couldn't do basic things like get dressed or eat or feed myself. And it was very much so a awakening moment. Like, it shook me to my core. To this day, doctors have no idea what happened. They have no explanation. And yeah, as a result of that, I had to get down to the nitty gritty of, well, if it is stress related or if it is induced by stress, what is causing me stress and how can I change that in my life? So by April, the end of April, beginning of May of 2019, I had finally gotten most of my functions back. I wasn't quite driving yet, but most of my functions were back, and I had made a vow to myself that I was going to take my health more seriously. And I didn't know what that looks like. I had no idea about wellness at this point in time. I had no idea about what taking care of yourself looked like. I just knew that I never ever wanted to be bedridden ever again. So I started with basic things like, oh, well, they tell you to eat healthy, so eat healthy. And I always have eaten quite healthy, but it was more so like, no, I'm going to count my calories and I'm going to look at my macronutrients and make sure I'm getting enough fiber and all those things that I never cared about before. And from there, it was like, okay, I'm going to start exercising more regularly, and I'm going to start taking that part of my life more seriously. And then it started to just trickle its way through, and I started journaling very heavy during that time to just try to understand all of my thoughts and feelings and processes to get to the root of whatever I had going on. Mind you, through this entire period of time, I was going to counseling, but the counseling never really addressed my holistic health. It was more so just addressing my occupational health, and that I would warn people against, but you'll see why in a moment. Anyway, fast forward to 2020, and then the pandemic hits, and I have been doing all of this work on myself. I had taken a course, a wellness course that actually helped me to understand what wellness was and to reevaluate myself from that perspective, as well as looking at myself from a holistic perspective and understanding how all the different areas of your life are actually intertwined. I got to a place in 2020 where I decided I wanted to start sharing this journey again and really share with everyone as I'm growing in my wellness what that looks like, how that can look like for you, and that is where we are today. So I have a bunch of videos already as well as blog posts. You can check those out over at CandidKayla.com that speak about the basics. Building a wellness plan, having financial literacy, growing your relationships with other people, dealing with broken and fractured relationships and how to grow from that and how to move on from that, how to put yourself in a position to where you're giving to your community but there's still something left for yourself, and growing in your educational career, your occupation, while still trying to figure out your purpose. And all of these topics are definitely tackled over on the platform already. The reason why I wanted to take a step back this month and really look at something a little bit different is because you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you're not applying it and you're not able to use that to create concrete systems in your life that reflect your wellness on a daily basis, you're going to feel like your wellness is a chore. And I definitely feel like I've gotten to a place where sometimes I feel like my wellness is a chore. I was listening to Melissa Fredericks, or Mrs. Kev on Stage, and she was saying on the My New BFF podcast with Cody Oliver, she was saying that last year when the pandemic hit, she got to a place where she just wanted to stop working on her growth because everything was too much. Just take an entire month where she just stopped and just reflected and lived without feeling like there's a pressure in order to do all of this self-improvement all of the time. And I resonated with that so heavily, and that is what this month is for. So the goal of April, like I said, was to live truly, or to truly live. And the first part of that is just learning to live, understanding who you are and your definition of wellness and what that looks like for you. And are you living in that? Are you feeling fulfilled on a daily basis, or are you feeling empty? Are you feeling taxed because of the work that you're doing on yourself? Now, the theme of 2021 is you got to do the work. So I'm not saying don't do the work. But what I'm saying is, what does the work look like, especially when you're tired and you're down and out and you're worn? And that's where I am. Like, I feel like the first 3 months, the first quarter of 2021 has been rough. I have been constantly giving and pushing, and I feel like in exchange for all of that, people in my life are getting ill and they're dying, and I don't have a moment to take a step or even a breath to mourn or to grieve or to understand my feelings about things that are happening. And so April is my way of really taking that step back, but also taking you guys on this journey with me so that you guys understand that it's okay to take a step back, but to still work your plan even while you're taking a step back. Like, you don't have to actively tackle something every single day in order to still be pursuing your wellness. So that is me. I wanted to just start the month off right. So y'all know a little bit about me, but now I'm going to tell you my goals, my personal goals, for the month before you get into all the other conversations we're going to have. And so my main goal for the month is to give myself permission to live truly, understanding what my truth is, taking a moment to reflect on my truth and what that truth is and where that truth stems from and who that truth is related to and all the things. Like, I think when the Bible talks about worshiping the Lord in spirit and in truth, if we don't even know what our own truth is, we can't worship him in spirit and in truth. What happens in your microcosm? What is your own individualized truth that is not directly connected to a label or a class of people or somebody else's ideology? Like, what is your personal truth, and how does that conviction reflect how you live? And that is what I want to give myself permission to do. Hopefully give you all the space to give yourselves permission to do so. And so that's what this month is all about. Learning what it looks like to actually live, have a life of your own, build the life that you want to live, build the life that God has called you to live, and really reflecting on the truth. So I guess a precursor going into tomorrow is understanding that your life's not really about you. It's important that you take ownership of your life and take ownership and responsibility for your portion of your life, but it's not about you. So chew on that until tomorrow. And tomorrow we will be talking all about our wellness from a perspective of what it looks like to be the main character in our own story. So until tomorrow, thank you guys. Bye.